Okay, today we're looking at step 8 of our 12 steps to spiritual recovery. And I call it the magic moment. I don't really like using words like magic when we are talking about spiritual principles, because there's certainly a belief that there's some kind of magic involved. If you think a certain way, you will like rubbing the magic lantern, you'll get a genie show up and give you what you're asking. If that were true, this recording thing up here would work, but it's not. So it's still a magic moment, though. And what we have to decide in every moment is, how are we going to deal with it? How are we going to respond to it? Because I could say, I've worked on setting this secondary camera system up all week, and it works like a charm, and then Sunday morning you get up here and it doesn't work at all. So that could be upsetting. But it's not, because I did think ahead, and we have 2 systems going. But there is so much of life that it's like that. That's what it is. It's maybe experimental thinking. Maybe we're reading a book that we're excited about, and we're trying to apply some of the principles. I was looking at some of the YouTube stuff again, and I saw Louise Hay on there, and she's got several videos, and she's a very good teacher. But the headlines are like, in 15 minutes you can get $50,000. Well, I tried that and I didn't get it. I didn't try too hard. I just found it interesting that, and there's several headlines like that for a lot of the positive thinking type of people that make some pretty astounding claims. But then they will qualify those by saying, but if your consciousness isn't equal to that, you won't experience it. So it's always kind of an out. There's always an out for them. And so I've never really been interested in that type of approach, because you get into it and you get excited about it, and then nothing seems to happen. Nothing seems to work out like you hope it would. Maybe some things do. Some things manifest in ways that are pretty exciting to you. But it's the ongoing condition of our consciousness that's the thing we want to watch. And what are you doing right now? You want a happy, prosperous life. Are you happy now, and are you feeling prosperous? Are you feeling like your life is working? So we want to bring ourselves into the now moment as much as we possibly can, and I, like all of you, are very aware of how difficult that is sometimes. So we'll talk about that today. So step 8 is, I seek to be fully present in this now moment, the only place I can be. Let's just set the groundwork by saying this together. I seek to be fully present in this now moment, the only place I can be. How many of us believe that the now moment is the only place I can be? If you believe that, look at your thinking. Look at where your thoughts are now. You may be traveling great distances at this very moment, looking for things to happen or anticipating something to happen, waiting for something from Amazon. I do that a lot. And you think, well, your life will be a lot better when that thing shows up. Well, it never is. It's always the same. There's always a sameness if we're the same. If we don't change in our own thinking in this now moment, then nothing's going to happen. And so we're going to talk about how to do this. And for those of you that are watching us on YouTube, stick with us, because toward the end of this I'm going to give 3 simple steps to practice this thing consciously, to practice this principle consciously. Seek to be fully present in this now moment, the only place I can be. And we all somehow think we can be other places. We can be other places in our thinking. But the only place that we can do anything about our life in a positive way is in this now moment. And that doesn't seem too glamorous, because what are we saying? We're not going to add anything to ourselves. We're not going to make more money. We're not going to, excel in our position, whatever we happen to be doing. We're going to look at the quality of our thought and look at the quality of our emotion. And we're going to make decisions on how to use these, how to employ these in this now moment. This is the only place we can be. We're doing something with our thinking. We're doing something with our emotions right now. What is that? And are we happy with the way it's going, or would we like to improve that? And so we think, well, if I just change my thinking and change my emotional state, that doesn't change my life, but it does. Because this is your life. This is my life. Right now, our life is happening. This is where it is. And what is the quality of my life right now? Is there something I can do about that? And the answer is yes, there is. So when I was growing up, we used to play the game known as Tether Bowl. Anybody play that? You know what that is? It's a lot of fun. A soccer ball is suspended to a pole by a small rope. One end of the pole is planted in the ground. Two players compete to hit the ball, get it to wrap around the pole. Each player tries to block the success of the other, and the winner is the one who succeeds in wrapping the rope around the pole first. So our attention is a lot like the tether ball that is constantly slammed in different directions by competing forces. We can find ourselves in a fierce competition between a matter of concern and our need to resolve it. So we have a concern going on, and we have this pushback, this, we keep looking for ways to resolve. And we're not saying we don't resolve problems. We're not saying we're irresponsible with this kind of thing, but if you watch how you handle things, how you handle your daily life, there's often this game of tetherball going on. You're slammed one direction and slammed another. Your thoughts are going all over the place. And of course, the pole is the center point of that game, and it's always at rest. Basically, it may do a little shaking, but it's the center point that we are, that our life is revolving around. And so that when that game is being played, that ball is going to be slammed. Our thoughts, our emotions are going to go all over the place, and they go back and forth. So we ask ourselves, how do we resolve this? How do we make our lives better in this now moment, the only place I can be? If the ball is left undisturbed, it naturally unwraps the rope, comes to rest against the pole. The pole is the unchanging center of the game. It's like the now moment. So it's a matter of letting go, and we've all heard that, let go and let God. We've heard that phrase. And the only way this will work is if we actually do it. And how do you know you do it? How do you know you've actually let go of a problem that you're dealing with? You know by how you feel. You know by the peace of mind that you may experience. And to reach this point, it's important for us to understand that you don't have to resolve the thing to reach a level of peace about it. And that's where we usually fall short. We think we have to get it resolved in order to achieve peace. And we don't. It's just exactly the opposite. Achieve the level of peace in yourself, and your mind will clear up enough to see how to resolve it. It's kind of an interesting thing. We have it backwards because we live in a culture that is very goal-oriented. I will be happy when I reach this or that place. I'll be at peace, I'll be satisfied. And of course we find that that's never true for long. We may be for a time. But this idea of letting go, and just imagine letting the ball go, just leave it alone, and it slowly unwraps and just hangs there. And that's the value of stepping back. We want to have techniques, we want to have steps that we take. And part of the steps that we take are letting go. That's one of the most important ones that we can take. Because we find our center of power. We find that place in ourselves where life is actually working. If you feel like your life is not working, if you will sit down and just let go for a time and sense the peace that is there beneath the surface, you will find that your life quality improves dramatically. And you haven't solved anything. You haven't changed anything in the outer. Bringing our attention to the now moment is the key to finding peace of mind. We don't ignore life's issues that require resolution. A large part of spiritual recovery is found in our ability to know the difference between our spiritual center and a mental and emotional disturbance. The potential for mental and emotional disturbances exists always. That will never go away. I've said that many times. And I've been around a while, long enough to know that it's true. That we will never reach a point spiritually where the problems of life go away. The reasons for responding, reacting negatively, if that's the choice that we make. There's always going to be a reason, as I quoted last week, there will always be wars and rumors of wars. The poor will be with you always. It's like that level of consciousness will always be there. And so it's not a matter of getting to the point where we stop necessarily the Tether Bowl game. Fact is, we can be at peace during a Tether Bowl game. We can be at peace while we're resolving problems. We can be at peace right on the battlefield of life. But we don't call it that. We call it a disciplined mind, that is able to pull in the energies and say, I'm here now. This is the only place I can be. What kind of experience do I want to have? If I'm in the presence of God, how can I experience that now, even when this problem is going on? It's not easy to do this, but all of us know it's a lot easier than not doing it. Because when we're on that battlefield, when we're going through that emotional back and forth, playing that Tether Ball game, slamming as hard as we can to win, and it's being hit back to us, it's kind of hard to be at peace. So peace is the thing we choose first as we go about our problem solving. And it is not easy to be stressed out. It's not easy to live a life being stressed out. We've all done it. We know what it's like. So it's worth attempting to bring our attention back into this now moment and letting go. And observing our thoughts and feelings. Saying, these are mine. Is this really what I want to do with them? Do I really want to send them down this rabbit hole? We make a conscious decision to stop allowing the ball of our attention to be slammed back and forth and simply let it go. Doing so, we come into the now moment and rediscover our center of power. I really like that term, center of power. It's that place in yourself where you may not have everything resolved in a linear sense, that there's still issues that are coming up. But you have it solved at the spiritual level. You know you're okay. You know you'll be just fine. that however you get through this situation, you will keep moving forward. You'll keep knowing the truth about who and what you are, the deepest level. So if we don't do it now, when will we do it? We always think there's a future time. We always think that when we evolve far enough, when we learn more, when we read that next book, when we watch our next Louise Hay YouTube video, that we'll get it. But I've been down many of those roads, and the only thing, as Emerson said, the only thing that'll bring you peace is yourself. Choices that we make. And that's a pretty powerful realization to have. So entering the now, the first thing we do is we make a conscious decision to get out of the Tether Bowl game. And how do we do that? We just say, okay, this thing is going on. I'm just going to set it aside for a time and make it a quality time, not just as you're going through your life and doing things. I would recommend sit down. Maybe start out by reading a little bit, something inspirational. Begin to release it, but just make the conscious decision that you're going to get out of this game. You're going to stop battling mentally and emotionally the thing you're going through. You're not sitting down to resolve the problem. Well, you are in a sense, because the problem is the Tether Bowl game. It's that thing you're going through on an inner level. So we make a conscious decision to get out of the Tether Bowl game. That's the first step. And many of us do not make that decision. We don't even get to that point. We hope that we can get out of the Tether Bowl game. But we have to make the decision to do so, to step out and not be hitting that ball back and forth. And then this is our actual step. Number 2 is, I seek to be fully present in this now moment, the only place I can be. That's why the 8th step is important, to be conscious of being here in this now moment. When you sit down to let something go, then let that thing go. Be conscious of it. It's very easy to let the mind keep spinning. But do whatever you need to do. But I seek to be fully present in this now moment, the only place I can be. If you can be somewhere else, let me know, because I've never been able to do that. The 3rd step is to release all mental and emotional turmoil until you experience your center of power. This is not difficult to do when you're doing it consciously. And the idea here is not to resolve the thing it's not to win that Tether Bowl game. It's to resolve what's going on within you. Because that's the most important thing. That's the quality of life. That's where life happens. And that is happening in this very moment. So it's a very simple idea, but you combine this with all of the steps, and I would say again that this is not in any way intended to supplant the 12-step program, but I would see it as a good way to work along with that, if you happen to be in one of those. That I think it's a very complementary spiritual side to that whole thing. And it will help in a lot of ways answer some of the challenges that we're having as we're going through our recovery process. But the idea again of recovery is to recover is to reclaim something you already have. So whatever we're trying to win in that Tether Bowl game, that's part of the now moment, knowing that you already have it. You've already won it. You're already there. It's an affirmative state of mind, an affirmative state of being. And when we know that, we touch our center of power. Okay? Thanks for coming out. Next week we will move on to step 9. Thank you for watching this week's program. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with others. We want to reach as many people as we can, and we appreciate your help. If you'd like to help support this ministry, just click the donate card at the top right-hand corner of your screen. Your financial support means a lot to us. We have many subjects in our video lineup, so feel free to take a look. If there's a topic you don't see and would like me to address, just put it in the comment section. I'd love to know what's on your mind. To subscribe to this channel, simply click our logo. Thanks again for your interest in Independent Unity, and have a wonderful week.